You do not keep choosing the wrong people because you are stupid. You keep choosing them because, somewhere deep inside you, they feel familiar. Not good. Not safe. Not healthy. Familiar. And the mind is strange like that. It will often choose what it recognizes over what could actually save it. You meet someone who gives you mixed signals. One day they make you feel important. The next day, you feel invisible. They pull you close, then push you away. They confuse you, drain you, trigger you, and still, a part of you wants them more. And then you ask yourself, why do I always end up here? Why do I ignore the calm person? Why do I chase the unavailable one? Why do I stay too long with people who make me feel small? Why does peace feel boring, but chaos feels like chemistry? That question is not simple. Because the person you keep choosing is rarely just a person. They are a mirror. And sometimes, what you call attraction is actually your nervous system recognizing an old wound. Most people misunderstand this completely. They think choosing the wrong people is just bad luck. They say, I just have terrible taste. They say, I always attract toxic people. They say, people always change on me. But here is the harder truth. Sometimes you are not attracting the wrong people. Sometimes you are selecting them. Not consciously. Not intentionally. But emotionally. Your conscious mind says, I want someone loyal, honest, mature, and peaceful. But another part of you says, find someone who makes me work for love. Find someone emotionally unavailable. Find someone who makes me prove myself. Find someone who activates the old story I still have not healed. And that is where the pattern begins. Because what you want and what you are used to are not always the same thing. You can want peace and still feel addicted to tension. You can want respect and still chase people who make you beg for attention. You can want love and still feel uncomfortable when someone gives it to you without games. This is why some people meet a healthy person and feel nothing. No anxiety. No obsession. No desperate need to check their phone. No emotional roller coaster. And because it does not feel intense, they mistake it for a lack of chemistry. But maybe it is not a lack of chemistry. Maybe it is the absence of chaos. And if chaos is what taught you love, peace will feel unfamiliar at first. That is the hidden reason so many people keep choosing the wrong people. They are not just looking for love. They are trying to resolve an old emotional pattern. They are trying to win, from a new person, what they never fully received from someone important in the past. Approval. Attention. Validation. Safety. Respect. A feeling of being chosen. So when someone comes along who makes them feel uncertain, they do not always walk away. They lean in. Because uncertainty activates the old hunger. The old question. Am I enough? And suddenly, the relationship becomes less about the other person and more about proving something to yourself. If you can make this cold person warm, maybe you are worthy. If you can make this distant person stay, maybe you are lovable. If you can make this disrespectful person finally respect you, maybe the pain had meaning. But that is not love. That is emotional negotiation with your own wound. And it is exhausting. You start accepting crumbs and calling them signs. They reply after 2 days, and you feel relief instead of insult. They give you one kind moment after 10 painful ones, and your brain treats it like hope. They apologize, but never change, and you tell yourself they are growing. They hurt you, then act soft, and suddenly you forget the pattern because the apology feels like rescue. But listen carefully. A person who gives you relief after causing you pain is not the same as a person who gives you peace. Relief can feel powerful because it ends discomfort. Peace feels quieter because it does not create the wound in the first place. This is where dopamine can confuse people. Not in some dramatic, fake scientific way. But in a very real everyday sense. Unpredictable rewards can become emotionally gripping. When someone is inconsistent, your mind starts waiting for the next good moment. The next message. The next sign. The next time they act like the person you hoped they were. And because the good moments are rare, they feel more valuable. You are not just attached to the person. You are attached to the possibility. The version of them that appears just often enough to keep you hoping. That is why letting go feels so hard. You are not only losing who they are. You are losing who you imagined they could become. And sometimes that fantasy is stronger than the facts. Think about the person who keeps dating emotionally unavailable partners. They say they want commitment. But when someone actually shows up consistently, they feel suspicious. They wonder, why are they so available? They start looking for flaws. They feel trapped by the very stability they said they wanted. But when someone is distant, complicated, and unpredictable, suddenly they feel alive. Why? Because the chase gives them a mission. And a mission can distract you from yourself. Or think about the person who keeps choosing people who criticize them. They hate being judged. But they keep ending up with people who make them feel not quite good enough. Because deep down, that criticism matches an inner voice they already believe. So instead of rejecting the disrespect, they try to earn approval from it. They think, if I can make this person see my value, maybe I will finally believe it too. But self-worth cannot be borrowed from someone who benefits from making you doubt yourself. Or think about the person who keeps becoming the rescuer. They find broken people. Lost people. Immature people. People full of excuses. And they call it compassion. But sometimes, helping others becomes a way to avoid facing your own emptiness. If you are always fixing someone else, you never have to ask why you feel responsible for being needed. Being needed can feel like love when you do not believe you are lovable without being useful. That sentence matters. Being needed can feel like love when you do not believe you are lovable without being useful. And that is how people disappear inside relationships. They overgive. Over-explain. Over-forgive. Over-function. They become patient with things that are not acceptable. They become understanding toward people who are not trying. They call it loyalty, but it is often fear wearing a noble mask. Fear of being alone. Fear of starting over. Fear that nobody better will come. Fear that if they stop proving their value, they will not be chosen. But the price of choosing the wrong people is not just heartbreak. It is identity erosion. Slowly, you become someone you do not respect. You start breaking promises to yourself. You say, I am done, then answer their call. You say, I deserve better, then accept the same behavior again. You say, this is the last time, but deep down, even you do not believe yourself. And every time you abandon your own boundary, you teach your mind that your words do not matter. That is dangerous. Because self-respect is built through self-trust. And self-trust is built when your actions match your standards. If your standards only exist when you are calm, but disappear the moment you feel lonely, they are not standards yet. They are preferences. A standard costs you something. It may cost you access to someone. It may cost you the comfort of a familiar attachment. It may cost you a fantasy you were holding on to. But it gives you something greater. It gives you your dignity back. So how do you stop choosing the wrong people? You do not start by making a longer list of what you want. You start by studying what you keep tolerating. Because your pattern is not revealed by what you desire. It is revealed by what you repeatedly excuse. Look at your history honestly. Not with shame. With precision. What kind of person pulls you in? The distant one? The charming one? The wounded one? The dominant one? The one who makes you feel like you have to compete? The one who gives just enough affection to keep you attached? Then ask the uncomfortable question. What feeling do they recreate in me? Do they make me feel invisible? Not enough? Responsible? Anxious? Unchosen? Small? Now go deeper. Where have I felt this before? That is where the pattern begins to expose itself. Not so you can blame your past forever, but so you can stop letting your past choose your future. The next step is to separate intensity from intimacy. Intensity says, I cannot stop thinking about them. Intimacy says, I can be myself around them. Intensity says, they make me nervous. Intimacy says, they make me honest. Intensity says, I need to win them. Intimacy says, I am safe enough to stop performing. A lot of people are addicted to intensity because intimacy requires something scarier. Vulnerability without performance. Calm without chasing. Love without proving. And if you have built your identity around earning affection, being loved simply may feel uncomfortable at first. But discomfort does not always mean something is wrong. Sometimes discomfort means your nervous system is meeting something new. You also have to become disciplined with access. This is not just about romance. It applies to friendships, business partners, social circles, and anyone you let close to your mind. Not everyone deserves a front row seat to your life. Some people should only be observed from a distance. Some people should be respected, but not trusted. Some people should be forgiven, but not invited back. And some people should be understood without being allowed to keep hurting you. Emotional intelligence is not just understanding why someone behaves the way they do. It is understanding that their pain does not give them permission to become your pattern. You can have compassion and still have boundaries. You can care and still leave. You can understand someone and still choose yourself. That is maturity. Another shift is this. Stop asking, do they like me? Start asking, who do I become around them? This one question can save years of your life. Do you become calm? Clear? Respected? More honest? More focused? More yourself? Or do you become anxious? Desperate? Jealous? Small? Confused? Do you start checking your phone like your peace depends on it? Do you start lowering your standards to keep the connection alive? Do you start explaining basic respect to a grown person? Then the answer is already there. Your body is giving you data. Your behavior is giving you data. Your loss of peace is giving you data. Stop ignoring the evidence because the fantasy is beautiful. The fantasy is not your future unless the person's actions can carry it. And actions are the language of truth. Not potential. Not promises. Not chemistry. Not late-night apologies. Actions. Repeated actions. Consistent actions. Actions when they are tired. Actions when they are stressed. Actions when they do not get what they want. That is where character reveals itself. The deeper insight is this. You do not rise to the level of the love you want. You fall to the level of the self-respect you practice. If you do not practice leaving what weakens you, you will keep calling survival love. If you do not practice telling yourself the truth, you will keep confusing hope with evidence. If you do not practice being alone without panic, loneliness will keep negotiating your standards down. This is why discipline matters even in relationships. Not the cold kind of discipline. The self-respecting kind. The kind that says, I will not abandon myself just because someone almost loves me. The kind that says, I can miss you and still not return. The kind that says, I can feel the urge to chase, and still choose peace. Because growth is not always a dramatic transformation. Sometimes growth is not sending the message. Not explaining yourself again. Not returning to the person who knows exactly how to pull you back. Not confusing the pain of withdrawal with proof that you made the wrong decision. When you stop choosing the wrong people, it may feel empty at first. Because the chaos is gone. The emotional noise is gone. The mission is gone. Now there is silence. And in that silence, you meet the part of yourself you were avoiding. The part that wants love. The part that fears rejection. The part that learned to perform. The part that still wonders if it is enough. Do not run from that part. Sit with it. Train it. Respect it. Teach it that love does not need to feel like begging. Teach it that peace is not boredom. Teach it that being chosen by the wrong person is not a victory. Teach it that losing someone who made you lose yourself is not a loss. One day, you will meet a different kind of person. They will not confuse you. They will not make you audition for basic care. They will not turn affection into a reward system. And at first, your old patterns may not know what to do with that. You may want to sabotage it. Question it. Test it. Run from it. But pause. Breathe. Ask yourself, is this boring, or is this healthy? Am I uninterested, or am I unfamiliar with peace? Because the right people may not always give you the emotional high your wounds are used to. But they will give you something better. Room to become whole. And when you finally stop choosing people who reopen your wounds, you begin choosing people who respect your healing. That is when your life changes. Not because someone saved you, but because you stopped handing your heart to people who needed your weakness to feel powerful. You stopped mistaking anxiety for love. You stopped calling inconsistency passion. You stopped letting loneliness choose for you. And slowly, quietly, powerfully, you return to yourself. The hidden reason you keep choosing the wrong people is not that you are broken. It is that an old version of you is still trying to be loved in the only way it learned to recognize. But you are allowed to learn a new way. You are allowed to choose peace before it feels natural. You are allowed to raise your standards before you feel fully confident. You are allowed to walk away while you still care. Because the moment you stop chasing people who make you question your worth, you start becoming someone your younger self needed. Someone who stays. Someone who protects you. Someone who finally says, "We are not going back there again." And maybe that is the real love story. Not finding the perfect person, but becoming the person who no longer betrays themselves just to be chosen. If this helped you see yourself differently, subscribe for more deep psychology and self-improvement lessons.